officially. Good morning. Oh, I love the emoji, Sandy. Or insert, I rather. The GIFs. Good morning. Welcome to the Market Watch Group weekly opening bell. My name is Scott, and I will be your host. As always, please keep in mind that this service is for education and illustrative purposes only. We are not brokers. We are not advisors. As such, we don't give recommendations and we don't give advice. What do? We will talk about the opening futures and news. We will discuss the economic calendar and review our market posture that we established yesterday. Did you guys notice? It took a little while, but it's out there. So maybe we'll wait a little longer before giving the results. But there is a new post. And in that post, I thought you could just have a blank. Like when they have a poll, it's pretty restrictive. So I have to give 5 choices. I can't just be like, give me your number, and then I can just add up. I looked for a while. That was one of the reasons why it took a little longer to get it out. Because I'm like, there's got to be a way. There's not. There's only multiple choice. So I have it set from, I think, 6.5 to 7.5. And then I said, if you have a different number than here, write it in the comments. And that way, if someone's like, what? I'm only a 5. If we have outliers, we can at least make them represented. Did I know Josh Brolin was a trader? Oh, really? No, but the actress Michelle Williams, who won an Academy Award, her father is a very famous trader. And he's won a couple of contests. And he actually taught her, and she won early on before, like, I doubt she trades anymore. But that is an interesting to know. What else will we discuss? Mindset for open trades. We'll look at the opening range, talk about the trade implications. We will review our early week opportunity list. If you didn't see it, let me show you a couple of things real quickly. First and foremost, I'm going to pull this over. Okay. Now we've got some votes. I didn't have a chance to check before I came on. Here is your market posture score for this week. Oh, you can see I put it. I thought maybe I should orient it a little lower, but maybe I should have oriented it a little higher. Did anybody comment that they have something different? I couldn't see the comment. 725 from okay. Good. If you haven't had a chance, go get your vote in. I know it doesn't seem like much now, but eventually this will be a very cool feature when we get it dialed in, where you're like, okay, what's the group score? Okay. Second of all, if you're not finding these, if you're ever wondering, what's this week's focus list? There's really nowhere good to put it other than if you come into the recordings and summaries section and you have market posture and you click here to see more. This is just a review of the video if you happen to miss it. A little bit of commentary. What happened to our score? What sectors are we watching? What's going on in the economic calendar? And lastly, this week's focus list. Not a lot of energy or utilities. None, in fact. A good amount of tech, comm services, financials for sure. We even have representation in basic materials. So is this all we're watching? No, these are the ones that are setting up or likely to set up this week. It's a great list. Make sure you use it. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let me go back, make sure I'm not missing any conversation with anybody. So I find that it was much easier for me to organize everything in Circle. Find a place, put it somewhere, be like, hey, it's quick and easy to grab this, to find this, to see this, especially with the education, being able to be in-house with the courses. And our next course, which is the first option trade. If you liked the stock trade, if you're new, there's a stock video or a stock course. There's 6 videos, 15 minutes each approximately, that walks through every step of making your first stock trade. So you can be like, do I have all my T's crossed, all my I's dotted, all my boxes checked, etc., etc. Got good feedback about that, so we are doing an options-based one. Expecting that to release this week, to be posted this week. What's it going to walk through? Buying a call. That's the simplest, right? It's always easiest to be bullish. We know that. Find a bull market, buy the dip. And the easiest of option trades is to be a buyer. So that first option trade is going to walk through buying a call. I think you'll like that. And that is available inside. That'll be available inside our trading courses as well. Okay, so let's get to it. Market opens in 5. Let's just take a quick peek at the ESs. What are they doing? They're flat. For the 4th day, actually. We were back here on Wednesday of last week. And then Thursday we sat there. Friday we sat there. Now it's Saturday. We're sitting here. Keep in mind, we have on and this may be one that you were just watching because you're like, I don't know what to do with all that, Scott. I don't know what you're doing with all that. This was a calendar spread. And we put on the calendar spread, and then on Friday, I said, well, we can either hold on to it, or you can also think about adding to extend the probability. What did we add? The 615s. Let me see if I can... look what I've done here. It's a very funky looking chart. So we started over at the 600s, and now we're over here looking at the 615s, right? Okay. So now I will do a trader's minute because I want to talk about the trade alert too, but I'm waiting for the market to open. So keep that in mind here. We started with this, and we put it on. If that's what you still have on, remember that we said if we can get 25% on this thing, we can get like 30%. If you have this trade on and you're like, I don't know, Scott, I don't know if this thing could go higher. You can see if it goes higher too much, if it gets up here to 615, it's going to start to go back to break even and start to drop a little bit. Well, that's not what we're looking for. If you think this thing's going to pull back, you're great just in this one trade, or you could just simply say, I'm done here. I'm going to take 250 off the table. That's about a 30% return, and I'm done. Now, we also said, well, look what we could do. If we're more worried about this outer edge, I can put on another one. Bing. This is what it looked like by itself. This is what it looks like now, all together. So here's what I have together. So now you can see it's more in the middle of this structure. And now my risk is if it pulls back a little bit. And so here's what we have to decide. Because time is working in our favor. If you watch what happens, the longer each day I click a day, make more money. Click a day, make more money. Click a day, make more money. I would love to be able to carry this to Friday. And then the trade is over. And that's it. And what am I thinking? I think we should be thinking about starting the next one. Maybe a January, February. We did a December, January. Maybe we do a January, February. I might start doing them even more actively than that. Thank you, Sandy, for posting. And also keep in mind, mentioning our trading courses, that we have the Trading Foundations Options course. That's not 15-minute videos. Those are hour long. I mean, that's a full, I believe it's an 18-hour course. It will walk you through option basics. It will walk you through strategies and application. So if you are interested in getting into options more, I highly recommend you take advantage of that resource. Okay, we are 1 minute before market opens. Let's go take a quick peek at our posture from yesterday. If you happen to miss it, just a quick review. And that's kind of what this day is for. We are transitioning our market posture, and now we're starting to think about it from a trading posture. Trading posture, which means what? What are you going to do now? Are you going to trade today? A 7.25 doesn't mean you can just put bullish trades on whenever you want. It means you're bullish. It means you're willing to push your risk to the highest levels of parameters you have set. I'm absolutely willing to be at max risk, right? In this market climate. I'm gonna give trades more grace and leeway. I'm not gonna take losses easily in this market. We put an alert out on Bank of America. Who knows if that trade comes to fruition or not? The alert was valid. Now it's hiccuped a little bit. Okay, so what? So we wait. We show patience. We don't expect the market just to succumb to our will. Remember that we are still blades of grass. And the market is still a lawnmower. Okay, so let's go look at it. Let's switch this to SPY. And you can see we're just starting off here at the level about 609. Now we'll watch the first 20 minutes and go from there. Sandy said what, but I don't know what it was to. Sandy, did I say something outrageous? I could. I say outrageous things sometimes. Don't even realize it sometimes. Okay. Let's do a trader's minute. Let's do a trader's minute. About what, you say? Let's think about a couple of things. I do want to peek in on that BAC trade. You can see it's still in the same hiccup. Oh, yeah, the market not bending to our will. I know, it's baffling sometimes. You think it should, right? I do too. You can see where we are. We're still inside of this same day. Got down to here, recovered back up. Now it's here. We're not wrong till we break this. That's our support level down here. It's got to break that. It didn't just go right away like some of our trades have been. It's easy in this kind of market to get spoiled. Where you're like, I put a trade on and it goes up. And then I put a trade on and it goes up. It's not like we have those expectations, but it's easy to go back and be like, there's a reason they have a saying that everybody's a genius in a bull market. That's a saying. I'm sure you've heard it. What does that mean? It just means that, it's pretty easy when everything's going up. Especially if you're giving things a little bit of time. So if you go back and you look at trades you stopped out of and you think, man, what would have happened if I gave it just 3 or 4 more days? Would it have recovered? Most of the time, probably yes. And so we have some ability to do that in this market. We wouldn't do the same thing if the market drops to a 4. What are we now? Let me just quickly remind you. 725. What happened? We lost a 1/4 of a point on volume, and we gained a 1/4 of a point on the VIX. I got a question from Steven. He said, are we looking for the VIX to go to 0 for it to go to a 2? A 2 is the highest score. No. No, the VIX won't go to 0. I think the lowest it's ever been is like 8 point something or 9. 11 or 12 is really what we consider low, and then it has little blips into the other territories below that. So what would a 2 look like? It's when it's low and staying low. So if it pops up to 15, 16 and drops from there, that's another lower high. Then it's low, staying low, and we would expect that it's going to vacillate between 12 and 16. That's a 2. That's just as good as it gets. Could it sometimes pop down momentarily into like 11, 10 territory, 9 territory? Maybe. But that's it. Press says, well, I don't expect everything to go up immediately. I have little patience for the ones that do not. I love it. It's like I told my kids, I have no patience and I hate waiting. I have to say it twice. Okay. Yeah, strong posture. Maintaining a strong posture. Cyclically speaking, we're in December. We're in Santa rally time. Last year, we had a very similar construct leading to a stronger December. That market went strong December, January, February, March, and into April. Very similar thing, but even stronger now. So a lot of bullishness, a lot of good prospects. We have wins at our back, and it's important to recognize that. Not because we want to trade recklessly, but because we do want to recognize, hey, this is the kind of market where I want chips on the table. I don't want to look back and be like, and we've done this, there's been times where you're like, I wish I would have had more on. But in that market, we were 4s, 3s maybe. So there's some reason that we weren't. Anytime you make money, you're going to look back and be like, yeah, I wish I would have had more. Right? Of course. Went well. I wish I would have had double. But that's not how we then change to trade. That's recognizing that, hey, at that time, a little different context. This time, though, yeah, let's be ready to go. Okay, let's go take a look at some things then, shall we? So Bank of America, still fine. I'm not like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Am I impatient, press? Yes. Do I hate waiting for this to move? Absolutely. Absolutely. Am I going to give it what it needs because I'm unwilling to take even a small loss right now in this market rather than give it another couple of days to see if it can catch the momentum I think is coming? Oh, yes. Yes. Patience, grasshopper. Okay. What else? What else? Let me get my watch list up. You guys are quiet today. Monday quiet. Get some coffee coming in. Okay, now, we did put an alert out. Oof. We're seeing the same kind of a thing here, right? Same kind of a thing here. Now, if you didn't take the alert yet, what are you going to do? You're not going to take it yet, right? If you took it, what are you going to do? I'm in it. I'll tell you that right now. And it's a funny thing because there's a certain point where I tell people, oh, I'm expecting a loser to come. I think we've had like 5 straight winning alerts or 6 straight. I have to take a look. I need to keep a running total of the longest streak of winners just to have it. But when I get those streaks, I'll tell people, and it's funny because they'll say, oh, Scott, you can't be negative. I'm like, the market doesn't care if I'm negative. It doesn't care if I play classical music. It doesn't care if I say nice things to it. The market doesn't care. Right? Market just does the market. Market just does the market. But I'm gonna make sure that I do exactly what I just said. This is a high flying stock. This is a stock that's gone from 2.5 to 27 since the summer. What do we call that? Shark frenzy. What do we say about shark frenzies? You better have a stomach for a good ride. Or don't do it, right? If you took this trade and you're like, I don't like this, you might be like, okay, you know what? Shark frenzies aren't my thing. I'm not going to trade things that can move more quickly. Okay. Lesson learned. But this trade hasn't even gone wrong, right? If you don't like the trade, first thing in the morning, when the first day, when you're like, oh, what's going on? Well, let's just see. We're 8 minutes in. But am I going to do a trader's minute on this now? Nah, I don't like the way that this is. Obviously, I don't love a big bearish engulfing pattern that shows up out of nowhere. However, I want you to notice, after earnings, it had this pattern and then stabilized and then gone, right? So things like this happened on above average volume. We'll look at this at the end of the day and we'll see if this level holds. I'm going to give it that. If we break, I'm out. I'll take my loss and I'll move on. Questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. Okay, let's get to the watch list. Let us get to the watch list. Apple on our focus list in a flag. Looks fantastic. And it's great to have Apple breaking out of this sideways, busting out. Oh, look at this little volume guy popping out of there. Very nice, very nice. Now what? Now we're seeing this. That's possibly leading to what we're looking for next. We'll keep an eye on that. Amazon, overextended. Nothing we can do. You may still be riding your Amazon. I hope you are. At least a small piece. AppLovin. Okay, we've been waiting for this thing. Now it's starting. Where would I expect this consolidation to go? I'd probably be looking somewhere through here to maybe through here. And I'd like to see it above the midpoint of this little channel. Yeah, anywhere in there, you can see this can come back. This comes down in here. If we get that, yeah, let's give it another run. Let's give it a shot. AXP. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful. Are we expecting an alert? I would think so. On Friday, what did we have? We had the candle, but not the oscillator. So it wasn't a full trade, right? A full signal. Could you have taken it on Friday as an anticipatory trade? Well, we're a 7.25. So absolutely yes. That's exactly the kind of market you would look to anticipate trades in, is this market where you're like, hey, this thing looks like it might go. Let's just jump in, right? What does that give us? Better reward to risk ratio. But now what? Well, now, at least 11 minutes in. So I do want to watch this one develop a little bit more, but I believe Press is right. This thing's given us a green light. Once we believe we've crossed a time zone of the day, that validates the signal. 9 minutes in for me, it's not valid yet. But a little longer in the morning, I would say, yeah, we're good. I'm absolutely looking at this one as well. Now you might be like, well, we have BAC. You're just going to put another financial trade on like that, Scott? Just willy-nilly? Just throwing financial trades on like they're going out of style? Yeah, that's my answer. Yes. Why? Because if I'm willing to go towards my high levels of risk, for me, it's going to be 12, 15% area. Even at 1% a trade, that might be 12 to 15 trades I have on at any given time. If I have 5 core growth sectors, I'm going to need at least 2 per sector, 3 from some, even if I have outliers from other sectors. So yeah, I'm willing to have 2 or 3 trades on per group, maybe even 4, depending. So certainly I would consider that still adhering to diversification standards. But yes, let's highlight that one. Bank of America. It's holding up. It's in its hiccup, but nothing has broken the vibe of the trade. It's fine. Everything's intact. BK, same thing. It's fighting. BX, same thing. All these are doing the same kind of a thing. Where else do we have signals developing? How about Carrier? I think it's still valid. If it can hold right here in turn, I would consider this okay. Looking for a pop back up, maybe even to this 80 level. We'll see. Caterpillar. Ooh, Caterpillar. It's 2.5%. It's a little more than I want, but I think this may be worth looking at as well. We've been flagging Caterpillar as the premier industrial candidate. At least that's what I had been doing. And I like this as well. Press, green light. What are your thoughts? Is it looking that way? CLS, Celestica, maybe starting to run out of steam. If you're in it, you're taking profits possibly, tightening stops. CMG, same thing. Now looking for CMG to get into setup position. Where's the pullback to? Maybe old high, new low. 62.5 looks great. CNK. Oh, CNK is close. Look how close it is. You guys can hear the writing of the letter that CNK is giving me. Dear Scott, I know you've enjoyed movies in my theaters. Now I would like you to enjoy trading my options. Love, Cinemark. It's a great letter. I'm very excited about it. Coherent. Overextended for me. Nothing there yet. Cisco. We just traded it. It just finished. So what now? Okay, so my horse ran a race. It won. I'm very proud of that horse. What are my choices? Put it in the stable, feed it, rest it, get ready to run it again, take it out back and shoot it. And you might be like, wow, that sounds extreme, Scott. That's what people do with trades. They literally will make money on the trade and then they'll just sort of like stop looking at it. I'm like, why'd you stop looking at it? Well, it just made you money. Don't you want to trade it again? Don't you want to, like, 3-4 days it pulls back? And we've done it with KKR. We've done it with Palantir. Now we want to do it with Cisco. Every time we have a winning trade, what do we want? Another winning trade. That's not greedy. That's just good trading. So now what? Now this is back in the stable, ready for another race. DAL. I don't know. It's funky how it moves. I'll watch it a little longer. I haven't traded it since we started watching it, so it's getting close to getting kicked off the watch list as a non-performer. DIA looks fine. DocuSign. God, they smashed it on earnings. All we can do now is watch and see if a new signal comes our way soon. Fastenal, close. Not Carrier. Yes, Carrier. Like Carrier, this one is testing the previous support. So I'm okay with that as well. I don't want these to break necessarily. Fiserv is holding. I'm iffy on this one. I've decided I wouldn't. Earlier I said if it holds the 50, we'll have a conversation. Okay, it held the 50. So here's that conversation. Not for me. Flex. Yeah, not feeling that one either. GBTC. What else? GE Vernova. It's a little flat, a little sideways. I gotta check in, make sure I'm not missing any. Okay. Sam. Oh, it looks like a few people already answered. But yeah, this is what it should be doing going forward. So this should be your expectation for these meetings. It's still on YouTube. Like, you could still go to YouTube if you prefer, just like, if you're like, I'm not going to comment, I just want to watch, I'm just going to go to the YouTube. Yep, same experience. It's still there. But this one is easier for the communications and for chatting and stuff. And so on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays, we're going to be using the Circle live stream room. Just looked at Amex options, and they are a little expensive. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm going to pause and take a step back. Let's take a look, since that's on our list of things. Sorry, I put in Amex. I'm like, wait, what? Okay. I wouldn't expect that with the volatility down here at 26. And not just at 26, but 26 is near the low of this. I mean, 23 is about as low as it gets. Okay. Just be mindful of it. But remember that at this point, I would probably say we'd be looking, if we're buying, at the January options. And remember how it works. I'm just going to go through this for like real quickly. Okay. This is time decay. Starts off slowly, it's moving, and then all of a sudden, as you get to the last 2 weeks, you're like, oh, and it has this exponential decline. Now, remember that this happens at the money, which is where we tend to be, is at or slightly out. So if the trade goes against you and it's all the way out of the money, or it goes for you and it's in the money, this time value process doesn't occur if it's full of intrinsic value, right? It's a different prospect. So if the trade goes right, you're not like, oh my God, I'm panicked, I'm going to lose everything. No, because it has intrinsic value. It's moved in the money. It's different now. But the reason I bring that up is because we're not looking to buy and hold and end up at the option there, right? Our journey is from here to here. So if I need to be for 7 to 10 days, those are my 7 to 10 days. Yes, I'm paying this much for time, but I'm only losing this much in time decay, if that makes sense. That's it? I hope it does. So I'm going to say I think they'll probably be okay. We'll see what it looks like. Hopefully the signal holds up. You can see we're at a doji. If this thing drifts back down into this area, 302.5, 303, I'll probably be holding on that one still. Okay, let's get back. Gold. Yeah, it's chopping around. I'm not sure about gold. GM I like. What do you think about GM? Yes. This is one that's had a pretty big pullback, but it's held the 50. Held the 50, strong. We're looking for it. I'm thinking about it for sure. Google. It's overextended. Goldman. Goldman's looking like a, hey, take a look. Home Depot, maybe trying. Robinhood. Okay, so I'm gonna let this be a quick, informal group poll. I'm leaning. Yes, you don't. Oh, yes, thank you, Press. You do not have to be in the money. In fact, in this market, at that implied volatility, I 100% would always be out of the money, not in the money in that scenario. I promise you that when you see me build the trade, I will be out of the money. And there'll be cheaper options. I'm thinking about dropping Robinhood. I'm going to give us the first 3 people to vote. Yes, drop it. No, keep it. First 3, that's going to decide. Yes, drop it. Give me a Y. It's strong, but it's not tradable, right? It's not really giving trade signals. It's just like chopping around. So I'm going to let the group. This is a quick poll. 3 people get to decide. Drop it. Oh, I have. Press says no, keep it. Sandy says drop it. Next vote wins. Whoever puts a yes or a no decides for us. If they say yes or drop, it's gone. If they say no or keep, it stays. Who's going to decide? Who's the decider? Sandy says it's rubbish. It's not worthy. It's not worthy of our group, of our consideration. Its quality does not merit the consideration. No one's going to decide. Look at this. All right, I'll leave it and come back to it. Drop it, ban. Look at Steve. Oh, Steve and Lee at the same time. They're like, no, it's gone. I love it, you two. That was executive. That was fantastic. Hood. You're gone. You're off the island. HWM. Okay, this one might be actually developing a true setup. We'll see. IBM. I mean, I'd like to see it start flagging at some point. Right now, it's not. IP on the menu. 3 days in a row, trying to hold support. Slightly higher low, above the 50. Yeah, absolutely. IWM. IWM looks like you could be making an argument for a trade in the small caps. And that's how I trade small caps. I don't try to find a small cap that has good options. That's very hard to do. I try to find just to say, hey, if the small caps look good, trade IWM. JCI. Okay, JCI's trying. KKR. KKR giving a signal, just like AXP. This is a bank one, though. This was looking pretty good. And that will be our third? Fourth? Let me go look at the alerts. There's one on 11/19. There's one on 11/5. There's one on 10/2. That would be our fourth KKR trade. We've already got the hat trick. Now what? I want the fourth trade. And if I get the fourth trade, guess what? I want the fifth. MasterCard looks pretty good. Meta, no. Overextended. Morgan Stanley, thinking about it. Microsoft, overextended. MicroStrategies, there's another one of those shark frenzies. You got the stomach for it? Maybe you roll the dice on this one. NDAQ, setting up. Netflix, overextended. NVIDIA, yeah, NVIDIA is kind of, I thought we'd see more traction on this thing, but it's struggling. PLTR, oh my gosh. Is anyone still making money on this? I'm not. I booked out. I took everything back there on Friday. Look at that boy go. Now what? All we can do is wait for the next one. Wait for him to come back. That's the one where he ran the race and he won. But he just keeps on running. You ever seen those videos like with the little kids and they just keep running? It's a 50-yard dash and they're like 80, 90 yards still going. You're like, you won, come back. No, you're still going. PayPal, overextended. No, QQQ, overextended. Roblox coming back. We did not take one of these. Reddit or Roblox were new. They didn't have enough time to really percolate on the watch list, and I didn't end up pulling the trigger, but they looked good. I'm looking for the next chance on both of these. Rocket Labs off the lows already. Okay, let's just relax. No panic. SoFi looks phenomenal. Just waiting for a signal. SPY. Pulling back, just kind of sitting. Sitting means good money for the calendar spread. Tegna holding. TJX. Looks very similar. I bought some dog toys at TJX over the weekend. I'm not sure if that'll contribute to the stock doing well or not. I did get like 6 of them, but they were only like $5 a piece. So I'm not sure how much that'll influence the stock. Probably not much. T-Mobile. Ooh, I was looking for T-Mobile. I was looking for the setup. Not that this invalidates it by any stretch. I mean, you can see that it tends to have more pronounced pullbacks than this one had done, right? More than the flag. And as long as it now stabilizes, I would say above 235. Anything, if it just starts to stabilize in here and turn, still valid, still looking for it. Toast. Okay, we said viable if you're thinking about it. Tesla still going up. TSM is not. Kind of a flag type pattern. TTD looks good for a setup, but not quite yet. Twilio looks good for a setup. Nope, just barely starting to pull back. Upwork. I don't know. I don't know if I love the way that one moves around. Here's today's VIX. The VIX is up. The VIX is at 13.5, you guys. 13.5. We really don't have a lot of concerns right now with that. Veritiv Holdings. Ooh, this looks like this is going to take into, after starting this trajectory, this is going to close this out. Unless it can recover by the end of the day, This for me is likely to close this one. Not going to be much of a loss, but it will be a loss. Again, right? We can't get complacent with things, but let's just give it some time. No need to panic. Visco overextended now. Walmart coming back, starting to give us a next setup. And here is Zillow. Okay. So what am I looking at today? I'm leaning towards Zillow for communication services. That looks strong. And I'm looking at potentially Caterpillar out of industrials. That looks strong. And I'm looking at some financials. We have KKR. We have AXP. Yeah. There are setups. There are signals. There are opportunities across multiple sectors. Great. Let's get ready for them. Give me your thoughts. What do I need to happen for today to be for it to be a buy on AXP? So what I need is for it to stay where it is. Right now we're only 29 minutes into the day. For me, I'd like to get another hour or so before I'm like, where I get to that mid-morning. That's the first time where I'll be like, okay, it's held. Even still, that I've had trades that I take in the morning, and by the afternoon, I'm like, if I was looking at this trade now in the afternoon, I wouldn't take it. That's what's hard, Steve and everybody else, right? So my preference for trades is last hour of the day. But in a market like this, things start moving, right? It's like if you don't catch it, sometimes it might be up 5% by the end of the day. And you're like, well, then I've waited out of the trade. So there's not a right way. There's not like, this is the way to do it, right? If you hit on a 16, you're going to catch a low card sometimes. You're going to bust sometimes. But if the dealer shows a 10, you got to do it. You got to do it. If you don't do it, you'll just lose. Right. And so it's like sometimes it's like, OK, so what do we do here? We just keep going forward with that. So you can see right now, this thing is now ebbing a little bit on its. Now we've gone. So this is a great one to finish on because we've done the watch list. I appreciate that. I'll go back and look at KKR and CAT one more time. But you can see we watch because it's like it goes in and it establishes the opening range. And now it's going back to the bottom of the opening range. And if it holds, great. And if it holds and then it can break this 305, now look, when you look at it from this perspective, you can see this 305 level is pretty important. So you might think, you know what, if it can break and hold that 305 level, maybe I take it. Or if it can, we're just looking for something that helps us to say the buyers held on and now they're taking control. Right now, we don't have that, right? For me, we don't have that. So that's what I'm looking for. The closer we get to the end of the day, and the closer this thing is holding up above the previous day's close. Right now, we're not. Previous day's close was 303.99. We're at 303.89. We're a little below that. Great question. What time is it? 1 minute over. Okay, we can go 1 minute over, right? Caterpillar. It's Caterpillar. It's breaking out of its. It's not a flag. That's not a flag. It's too big. But it is kind of a consolidation, and it's turning that into a bounce. Look at this. Bingo, bingo. Very similar to like what was going on here, but didn't quite get to it in time, right? This one we have time, and hopefully can catch before the next one of these. That's what we're thinking on Caterpillar. There's opportunities. We're only 15 minutes in, or 30 minutes in, but I would say, yeah, I would expect a trade alert or two to come out. That's my expectation. KKR one more time. Looks great. Real nice looking setups and triggers. Good stuff. Good stuff, everybody. We had an amazing day yesterday. I feel like it was a great kickoff, even though a few trades aren't doing what we want necessarily. This is trading. This is what it feels like. That's part of what we really want to establish with the group is that feeling of continuity, right? Coming from a coaching background where we would have, I would meet with someone once a week. it's hard. We lack continuity. It's hard to go like Sunday, Monday to two. What do we do as we move through the week, as we talk about how this thing is ebbing and flowing and setting up? And so hopefully that's giving you a better sense for that as we go along. VRT. Yeah, VRT is not in a good place. PJ. If it can recover by the end of the day, I might hold on to it. I'm looking to close where it is. Hopefully it recovers some of it so the loss isn't as bad. But yeah, not looking great with that big, nasty move rollover today. That came out of nowhere. That's my thoughts. But we'll see. Let's take a look at that one more time. Yeah, we're not loving that at all, right? In here, out here really is not bad with a few days of time. The loss won't be much, but yeah, if it comes back up, for me to stay in this trade, I think it has to come back up to, I would say at least 131, maybe 131.25. If that happens, I'll probably stay in and see. Otherwise, I'm going to take the loss, most likely. So, yeah, let's maybe put the conversation onto the circle chat later today. We'll see. Okay, great to see everybody. What do we have coming up? Tonight, 8:30 p.m., happy hour. We'll just chit-chat, get to know each other better, just talk about things. It's nice when we get people there. Tomorrow, we will have foundations in the evening and then normal schedule from there. It's good to see everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. As always, happy trading.